Hey everyone, good morning. Welcome to Aegis Mode Adventures. Hey, this morning we're getting ready to take our tour up to the Arctic Circle at Prudhoe Bay there on the Arctic Sea, Beaufort Sea. So that'll be a lot of fun, but I wanted to show you what it was like here to be in the camp up here at Deadhorse. They're pretty much all the same. Some are bigger or smaller. We're in a little bit smaller one here. We're having breakfast. But everything's kind of like cafeteria style here, and the kitchen's right here adjacent to where we are eating. So it's real compartmentalized and efficient. The bathrooms are the same way. It's kind of like living in a barracks if you were ever in the military. But that's just how it is up here. It's all about business and about all the guys that work here. Tourists are just kind of a secondary thought. But I'm glad they allow us here, so that's kind of fun. So we'll see you here a little bit up at the Arctic Sea. In order to help keep the camp clean, you have to take your shoes off out in the vestibule and leave them here so there's no shoes inside. Or they make you in certain areas wear little blue pullover booties like you see in the hospital.
I can point where the spot is.
Oh yeah.
So I was going to show you where it's at, and they said it's where all the thumbprints are. All right. And where are we going today?
Prudhoe Bay, top of North America.
Do you know where it's at on the map?
Yeah, I do.
Kentucky, California, Iowa, Minnesota, Michigan, Puerto Rico, Pennsylvania, Colorado, Arizona, Montana, South Dakota.
Our tour this morning starts off in the vestibule of the camp, where we board a little bus to head towards the oil fields, which gives us access to the Beaufort Sea and the Arctic Ocean. Our IDs are kept there because we have to stop and go through a security gate to get in and get out. I'm not so sure they didn't even do a little bit of a background check besides recording our names and addresses. So it was kind of interesting. Before you get in, you have to go through the checkpoint. But this is going to be fun today, and it's the only way you can get there. So you might as well grin and bear it and go with the program.
It was legal to actually drill and sell the oil. They were exploring up here through the 60s, following crises in the Middle East that made it financially viable to even consider drilling this far from the markets. So, yeah, 68 they discovered a sandstone deposit called Saddle Rochette, 9,000 to 11,000 feet down with 4,400 pounds per square inch of geological pressure. Next year, 69, they drilled a confirmation well 7 miles away, just to prove they hadn't been super lucky and drilled into the only spot up here that had that much oil. So yeah, 68, 69, that kind of formed the basis for lobbying it. By 71, 72, drill permits were signed and construction began in the early 70s following the Settlement Act.
After clearing security, we head back on a series of roads that winds around to the Beaufort Sea. Along the way, our guide would stop and point out some migratory birds that he was familiar with and give information concerning them. He also gave us some interesting information about the oil fields themselves and how they were developed and how many companies were operating in the area. There's several companies that operate there, different wells. They also have a site that's like about 100 miles away to the west that's along the ocean also. And the only time you can get there is during the winter months when everything is frozen.
So all those trucks and tractors that you see in Deadhorse are all there to support the new oil fields about 100 miles west of Deadhorse. I found that pretty interesting because they keep going further and further afield to find more oil. It was quite interesting. But eventually we make it to the Beaufort Sea. It's not quite what you think when you get there. It's really different. It's a lot of sand and gravel. It might not look chilly, but it's 39 degrees out, so it's pretty chilly, and it's middle right here at end of July, August.
I don't go swimming, Mike.
I am not going swimming. It's too cool for me.
Funny. Something from the last trip.
I'm ready for you.
You ready for me?
Yeah.
All right. Just getting paid for.
He is going in there. Wow.
God, that's so freaking cool.
Our guide was super impressive. How was it, Mike? And our guide's still out in the water. Woo-wee. Actually, it's not as cold as you'd think. Okay. How was it? Hey, I'm giving you the thumbs up. You're doing great. Very impressive. Stay out there like he is.
Our guide did a fantastic job, and his swim in the ocean was just part of his shtick that he had, that he did every time he took a group out. But it still was a lot of fun. In the water, surprisingly, maybe because the air temperature was so cold, the actual water temperature seemed a little bit warmer, which I don't know that it would have helped you if you were actually swimming. I'm sure it was still extremely frozen. But he stayed out there for a long time. I want to say maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes while he was out in the ocean there. So he's a better man than me. It was a little bit too cold for me. Eventually, though, we all pack back up and head back into the bus to head back to camp. We're going to be taking off immediately after getting back to the camp and driving back to Wiseman for the evening. We switched up a little bit so that Roy would be in the front seat and Sherry'd be in the back seat. So we filmed as far as the Brooks Range, but we didn't film any further than that because it was a little difficult for Sherry to film from the back seat. We spent the better part of the morning doing our tour, so it cut down our travel time for the afternoon quite a bit because we didn't leave the camp until late in the morning. And so we got in pretty late to when we got to Wiseman. If memory serves me correctly, we went to Coldfoot and got something to eat before heading back up to Wiseman. We also fueled up the vehicle and got it ready to go for the next day for our push back to Fairbanks. But boy, this has really been an intriguing trip. And if you do it on a motorcycle, there's no doubt in my mind you'll have an absolute blast. Just do it when there's no rain and no mud. It may not look like it from the videos, but the roads were really rough in areas with a lot of potholes that you had to dodge around. So driving took a lot of concentration, and as a designated driver, that put just a little bit more stress on me to make sure that everybody was safe and that we didn't damage the rental vehicle. So you just had to be kind of careful. On an adventure bike, you wouldn't have much of a problem at all. It would be fairly easy on these roads with just the bike itself. At the end of the day, though, I was pretty tired out from my concentrating on the driving, and I was ready to take a break here. Because of that, we didn't do an end-of-day video like we normally do. But I sure hope you enjoyed this video here and got a kick out of us going to the Beaufort Sea and the Arctic Ocean. We'll see you in the next video.